Well. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear our audio.
Oh, I heard that.
You heard that. Give us a
Skype.
thumbs up if you can hear what we're saying. Are there any typos on our graphics? That's something to...
Podshop.
Mm.
That's right.
That's right. You can see we've made some additions to our set. There's a Husky knife here. I don't know why. We're cutting something. I've added a book because
Signals that we read books.
big time readers, and that's something we'll certainly be reading within the next few months.
Casio watch guy. Battery's broken.
It's a true zombie watch. Like, what time is it? It's just standing still. We're just here on lockdown. What is up, everybody? Is this working? Are we audible?
We're good.
Are
Yeah,
there
buddy.
people
Thumbs up.
saying we're into this? We wanna hear Dan and Ian's most recent bits that they're working out. Got a few. Hey,
Janet.
Cool. We're going to get started in just like a minute here. We got an episode we're really excited about today. We're going to talk about dropshipping, e-commerce starting from scratch, and how to think about it, how to do it. We're going to bring someone on who's done it, who's very thoughtful about it. One of the things I want to give a shout out, and I want to try give a shout out to all the folks coming over from the Remotely Interesting newsletter over at Dynamite Jobs. A lot of interest in people over the last few weeks since the virus outbreak, wanting to work from home, wanting to work from anywhere. WFA.
Here we are. We run dynamitejobs.co.
Yeah.
Actually, Lena and Alex run dynamitejobs.co.
Yeah. Shout out to Lena and Alex. Get in touch with them if either you're a founder or whether you're looking to get a gig to learn e-commerce, for example. Alex and Lena can help you. And I realize that, at the current moment, maybe not a lot of companies are hiring, and that's something we're managing, but that doesn't mean that you can't sort of engage your career and get ready for when those companies do come back and figure out what the new normal is going to be. There will be a new normal. It will be here upon us shortly, and people will start to hire again.
It's probably going to be more WFA, which we're calling work from anywhere.
Work from anywhere.
Not just home. This is a part of the show where I have an apology to make.
Okay.
Here it is.
I would love to have a music bed to this. We'll get there someday.
This is big for me. I have been doing a bad job of these comments and reading these comments. You guys have been putting great comments into YouTube's. So I'm going to try harder. This is a new job for me. I'm multitasking over here. I'm trying to be engaging with you and read the comments. It's difficult for me because I'm slow. But here's what we're going to do. As the comments come up, I think that's great. I'll try and read them if I can. If I don't have enough brain power, though, I'm going to save them till the end of the episode.
Okay.
So wait for that at the end of the episode. We're going to be going through the Q&A then.
All right, cool. So today's episode then, we're just going to jump right into it. We have a special guest, Alan Walton. We'll call him in just a few minutes, but I want to set the whole thing up. We are talking about starting an e-commerce store, specifically dropshipping from scratch, and why it's difficult to find good information about this stuff. And this is all inspired by a question we received from a listener who's quarantined in Tokyo. So cool to think of. Me and you have been to Tokyo before. Sabrina writes us, and Sabrina, shout out. We appreciate you giving us the inspiration for this episode. She had a whole section in the email about how we were the best podcast of all time, like a mix of Howard Stern and Ellen, and which is better somehow. And I deleted all that because I didn't think it was that relevant to this episode, but I left the meat of her email. She says, my question is about dropshipping. I know nothing about it yet. And Sabrina is living in Tokyo, making income outside of e-commerce right now. However, I have time now. And cash to learn. However, I also like the idea of taking a gig to learn. So whether do I buy a course or do I become an apprentice? I'm looking to learn about PPC and creating Facebook ads that drive traffic. A lot of what I read online about dropshipping may be a bit outdated. What do you guys think about that? And she basically said, if I pick the right product and niche, can dropshipping be a sustainable muse still? Sabrina, shout out Sabrina. We appreciate it. Boss man, some definitional work. What is dropshipping?
Okay, so drop shipping is basically when the manufacturer of the product that you're selling ships it for you. So it used to be that manufacturers would ship to your warehouse or your house these products, and then you would ship them out to your customers.
Yeah.
So basically what they do now is they just cut out that double shipping triangle thing that's going on, and they just ship directly to your customers. And oftentimes they've gotten sophisticated to the point where it can actually look like it's coming from you, your business.
Right. And can I give some old person wisdom?
Sure.
You know, I used to, of course, walk to school in the snow. And if I recall, there used to be some tension between retailers and manufacturers. And this idea that a manufacturer was just going to ship direct to your customer was always this like, you know, no one really knew what the drill was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is the manufacturer just going to steal that customer? You know, are we going to like put a brochure in the thing saying, why the hell are you buying from Ian? You should come straight to Dan's factory sort of thing. And, you know, this whole idea of like drop shipping and white label direct from manufacturer has really become in vogue across like the whole manufacturing space in the past 10 years. And it's just become natural that if a manufacturer wants access to this big marketplace of potential customers, that they would offer a white label drop shipping service.
I actually remember early days, Buddy Simon was he was selling products on Amazon. He was like the #1 seller for this one product. And they would like invite him to like the annual like sellers ball basically, and it was all like basically bricks and mortar people, so people that had like physical stores. And then like he would show up, and he was like the guy that was selling online, you know, and everybody's like, who's this dude? And so like he was like one of the first guys in that arrangement to kind of break the agreement, you know.
Yeah.
Like people were definitely looking at him with the side eye, like, man, what is this guy up to?
Well, and one more thing, I wanted to ask you about what is a muse, essentially. Sabrina used this word. Is it a viable muse? What is
right. I think the way that we use muse on this show is like our definition would be like a lifestyle business. So something that is congruent and integrated with your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Like this book here that I
exactly. It's something
I like
that
to read.
it's something that you love, you do, and you kind of live. So is this a business that I can will fulfill my dreams? Maybe that's travel, maybe that's being able to work from home, maybe that's a certain income goal. That's a muse to me.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the term originally came about in the 4-hour work week, where the idea was a muse would be this, you know, business that delivered to you your dream line. You know, you're going to put up a t-shirt shop, you need to make $3,000 a month. It's a lifestyle business. I think we're sort of got our heads wrapped around that. So we want to do just a little kind of like philosophical storytelling before we invite Alan Walton on to do the nuts and bolts. The first thing you wrote down when you read Sabrina's email was this concept of looking in from the outside, and that when there's this thing that you want to get into, whether it's e-commerce or whatever it is, there can be this feeling. And you wrote down, I just gotta say, RC remote car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was weird.
Bring me into your brain, man. What's going on?
Is weird. Like I had this vision of like somebody like with their hands on the glass, you know, of a store, and then looking inside, and this inside is like all these people that are drop shipping or have e-commerce businesses. So you're walking by all these windows and you're looking in and think like, wow, I want that to be my life, or that's something that I'm interested in doing. The first time this happened to me, I was on the inside, and it was like, I was like 7 years old. I don't even know how I remember this, but I was into RC cars, and so like I had like got this RC car, and I like had the catalog, and I was ordering special parts for it and all this stuff, and like here I was like buzzing around my street with my RC car, you know. And my neighbor comes up and he's like, "Wow, man, that's awesome! Like I'm gonna get that. Like I'm gonna go do that." And I was like, "Whoa, hold on, buddy. There's weeks and weeks of research and knowledge that's put into this RC car. You see how fast this thing goes? Like you can't just buy this." And it was just this idea that like that's what people want. Like they see it, they want it, but then they have to understand that there's a lot that goes into it on the back end. So it's like looking from the inside or looking outside in. have to understand the steps that it takes to get inside that door.
Yeah.
And so that's the idea here behind the 7-year-old RC car story.
Yeah, and the idea that we bring up on the TMBA podcast all the time is the difference between informational knowledge and know-how. The knowledge that's in your bones versus the knowledge that's on paper. You could say knowledge accumulated through experience is very different from knowledge that you read about. Just because you read someone's theory on how to position a product on PPC doesn't mean that you know how to do it. Just because you read a book about riding bikes doesn't mean you can balance on one. And entrepreneurship is very, very complicated. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
Yeah.
It's got to be in your bones. And so one of the things as a rule of thumb, Sabrina, or can we call her Serena at this point? Because I don't know Sabrina. I don't know what Sabrina got to do her thing. Let's talk to Serena for a second, because now I can say anything. I'm freed up. I like the idea of this hypothetical person finding information that inspires them to work 5 hours a day in e-commerce, building out their network of mentors, of sites, of gigs, of paid traffic stream, whatever it is that gets you that know-how. It's only going to happen through 5 hours a day of consistent practice.
Yep.
One thing that Sabrina brought up that I thought was worth addressing before we call Alan is she thinks a lot of the information about dropshipping online is outdated. And we were like, yeah, and there's a couple reasons for it. Number one, these stores are often not very defensible. So, for example, if the reason you have a business opportunity in front of you is because you know about a niche, you're not going to go publish the said niche out into the business blogosphere.
This is like the oldest running joke at our conferences. Basically, it's like, oh, I sell on Amazon, and like my favorite thing to do is like, what do you sell? And I think our conferences are probably different than most of the conferences. But if you go to a conference about dropshipping and Amazon and e-commerce, if you ask that question, like you will just get kicked out of the room. Like that is the question that you do not ask people, because these things aren't so defensible. And sometimes. Meaning, if you're selling the same product, and a lot of times these manufacturers don't have rules about, I mean, they could say anybody could sell it, basically. So you go out and you sell one of these products. Well, somebody could come out in and sell the same product. And so then what's the difference? How do you win?
A more positive way to say this is like, look, these people like Alan don't gain anything from sharing with you how they're making money. And I think this is when you start to meet the people, one of the things I love about our conference is you meet 100 people who are making money online. One of them writes about it online. 2, 3, 5 of them write about it online. So the disparity, the asymmetry in information there is enormous. People aren't incentivized to share. Our second point about why this might be outdated information is the preacher to practitioner ratio is very often off. Like if you're a mediocre Amazon seller, or a mediocre drop shipper. Say, for example, you put up a site, you struggle with it for 6 months, you make $3,000 a month. You're not really that good at it. What's the best next move for you? Start a second dropship store or start a blog talking about how you made $3,000? But that's not really the person you want to learn from. So there's a practitioner to preacher ratio issue happening here. And the note that you made here is be suspicious of the information and motivation of the publisher. So what's your motivation here today, boss man?
I'm just having fun.
I'm suspicious.
I'm just having fun. Third point and final point is the delay in information from, quote, gurus.
Oh, yeah.
You wrote this one.
I did, because I think this idea of, let's even say that the $3,000 shop was a $30,000 shop. Well, that was developed 3 years ago. And it took me 3 years to develop my course and to build it up. And by the time it ends up on your lap, those things are, the first 2 points apply, plus there is a delay. But no delay here today. Let's bring on someone who is an expert. Well, let's just say this. I won't put that kind of pressure on Alan, but I will say that Alan is a practitioner. And that's something that we're all about. Okay, so let's see here.
Alan, are you there?
I'm here. How are you guys?
So cool. You have books in the background too.
I know. I wasn't sure if you guys could see those or not. So I'm glad I did.
How are you doing, Alan?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing great. Where are you right now?
I'm in my office, home office, which is like in a corner of my house. My wife wanted to give me one of the bedrooms that are like really nicely lit. Those are just empty right now. But I'm in Richardson, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. And yeah.
Give me a quick update on Corona life. You've got a young family. How has your life changed?
It hasn't changed all that much other than we don't go out to eat at restaurants and we're cooking a lot more at home. I was already, so I had my kid who was born last December, so about like 15 months ago, I guess, and something like that. I don't know. I'm bad at math. But ever since then, I've been doing more work from home. So like we had just moved into a new office, maybe like a mile away, but I barely even go there anymore because I'd always just work from home because I want to be near my kid. And so when the virus hit, not a whole lot changed, just not seeing any of my friends or anything like that. But I'm already pretty introverted, so this hasn't been too much of an adjustment.
Alan, thanks so much.
Business-wise, everything's awful, by the way. I'm not sure if that's what you meant. But
Tell me about that. Why is it awful?
oh, our sales are down 50% right now, and they have been since mid-March. I mean, I guess kind of like everyone else. But we had problems before that because before the virus was here, it was in Asia, and so we had problems with factories that were closed for an extended period of time after the Chinese New Year. And so we were experiencing some pain like back in January. And then now that pain is originally it was supply chain. Now it's like straight up retail. Sales are down 50%. Plus, this is on top of like a series of very bad business decisions on my part. And so it's just like everything has been really difficult. And now I'm having to like work really hard to try and get things back to where they were.
Alan, you run Spy Guy. That is your main site. How many years have you been doing that?
That'll be 6 years next month.
6 years next month. And what's the primary product that you guys sell?
We sell spy gear, and so like one of our best categories is audio recorders. So we sell covert audio recorders. So it's like audio recorder that's built inside of like a pen or like the key fob that you would use to like unlock your car. But we also sell things like GPS trackers if you want to find out where somebody's going, bug detectors if you're concerned that somebody's like spying on you or something like that, hidden cameras, that sort of thing.
Not a lot of covert operations going on during COVID, I would imagine.
Not a lot of people spying. No, not at all.
So Alan, the reason we're here is to help out Sabrina, who's thinking about building a career for herself in e-commerce. And one of the ways, the question she posed in the email is dropshipping still a viable way to start a lifestyle business from scratch in 2020? What are your general thoughts on that?
All right. So I always have like a strong opinion when I hear a question, and then I immediately think of all the things I could be wrong about, and then I get paralyzed. So I'm going to have to play this out a little bit. You were talking about starting a brand new online business as dropshipping. I think that would be really difficult and probably not the best decision. I do know a lot of people who do dropshipping, do dropshipping, and but they're already like huge companies. So they're 7-figure. Even there's this one guy who runs a website called Auto Anything. They're entirely dropshipping, and they do 9 figures. And so it's definitely possible to have a successful dropshipping business, but starting one from scratch sounds like a journey I would never want to go down. It sounds incredibly difficult.
Why is that, Alan? Just give us a basic idea of like why in 2020 you would not advise people to start a dropshipping business. I mean, that's huge.
Right. So, and the dropshipping thing was really big for quite a while. I mean, people were talking about that back in like 2007 or something, right? And it really picked up like in the last like maybe like 5 years ago. I started hearing more and more about it. I think that's about the time frame. But with dropshipping now, it's becoming a lot more difficult because you really have to differentiate yourself from everybody else who's selling that exact same product. And that sounds like an uphill battle. So you have to first find a product to sell, right? Or you have to find a manufacturer who's willing to let you dropship their products, a manufacturer who's going to ship that product out for you if you're able to close orders. And I in my space at least, there's not really anyone who's willing to do that. There used to be, but the margins were razor thin, and so your acquisition cost would have to be so low just in order to make money from that product, right? Unless you're some kind of SEO guru and can really, or an influencer or something like that, and you can really drive a lot of traffic to like a particular product and are able to ship it out. But I'm none of those things, and so it sounds really, really difficult. Also, you're at the mercy of the manufacturer at that point. Like last year, for example, one of our best-selling products, I got a call from the manufacturer overseas, and they're like, "Hey, look, we're discontinuing this product," and it was one of my best sellers, and I had nothing to replace it with, and it was awful. Like I had to place a massive order just to tide me over for the biggest order I've ever placed, and just to tide me over for like the next 4 months so that I could like start product development and figure out how to make a product to replace it. And so they could cut out the legs from under you like in an instant.
Alan, going back to something that you said there, you said an SEO expert or an influencer. I've got this idea, which is basically this. Like if you're going to start a dropshipping company these days, like actually it's a content business, or actually it's an SEO business, or it's a paid traffic business. Meaning it's not about the distribution of goods as much as it is the distribution of information and getting in front of people. So when you say you want to get into drop shipping, what you really mean, and tell me if I'm wrong about this in 2020, what you really mean is you want to get into the information business.
Yeah, pretty much. And even then, like there are people in the information business right now who are really hurting because yesterday Amazon associates just decided to cut all of their commissions by like half. Did you guys see that story?
Yeah. So just to explain what that means is basically when you go to the internet and you type in like, what is the best video camera? Google
information on the web sucks now.
Yeah.
It used to be awesome. It would bring you like a bunch of forums of like audio files, and now it's a bunch of people like us that are writing listicles.
Exactly. So there's a 10-point list, and then all of the links go to Amazon. And then when you buy that product, the person that created that list gets an affiliate commission. And basically Amazon went in yesterday and they cut a bunch of those affiliate commissions. So everybody that's worked for the past years and years to build up authority sites is watched their margins probably drop by, in some cases, 75%.
Yeah, I was taking a look. I don't know where all the affiliate marketers really hang out, but I went to a couple of like subreddits for affiliate marketing and some online forums for people who do that sort of thing, and they're all like, "World is on fire. I'm done with this. F Amazon." Amazon was built off the backs of people like us who were linking to their website, and they decided to just totally cut us out, like in the middle of like this pandemic. So I did not see a single person that was excited about what Amazon did.
Alan, it's a pretty radical idea, and I like it. That in 2020 you would not advise somebody to start a drop shipping business. What kind of business should they start if they're interested in physical products?
Can we back it up? Can I interrupt? Just like before even the idea of a business, like, Sabrina's basically just got spare time.
Mm-hmm.
So what is like Alan, in your opinion, what are those like first steps one starts to take to get the know-how of being able to even one day found a business?
Yeah, my suggestion is always to just read a lot. There's a lot of really great information out there, whether it's like in books, blogs, podcasts. Back when I was working my job, I had like a 1 hour commute each way. Dallas traffic is terrible, and so I would just listen to a ton of podcasts about SEO, about PPC, about branding and positioning, and just whatever I could get my hands on. And instead of just leaping into something, not knowing anything about it, and like say, "Oh, I'm going to start this online store and figure it out as I go," that some people are really, really good at that. I am not, and so I like doing research, and I like learning from other people's mistakes and seeing what people who are successful are doing and what they would recommend, and reach out to them. And yeah, that's basically it. Try to get as much information as possible so that you could build up that skill set that's necessary to actually like start an e-commerce store. And that might be something like learning how to write copy, like persuasive copy, maybe like some basic HTML skills, like really basic HTML skills, could help you out quite a bit. Figuring out what software is needed in order to really make your store successful. So like Shopify is like the easiest way to start an e-commerce store, right? But if you just dive into something, then you might see an ad for like Wix or Squarespace or something, and that would be.
We lost Alan. Oops.
Oh, we lost Alan.
We lost Alan. I wonder
Okay,
if...
1 second.
Sorry,
Alan, are you
guys.
back?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I wonder if Nico is playing with the cable.
Might have been. Are we still on our live stream here? Yeah, the live stream looks okay.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Are you
Okay,
there,
we're
buddy?
back, Alan.
Where did I drop off? I just felt like I spoke forever. And then,
Basically,
you were talking about like looking at Wix sites. So you're starting a Shopify site, and
hey, we got pretty far into it. Okay, yeah. Find people who have already done what you're doing. Find the podcast that they were on. Find the YouTube shows that they were on. See what books that they recommend. Maybe like while you're watching that YouTube video, like look at their bookshelf and find out what is on there. If the resolution's good enough, I don't know. But absorb as much information as possible, because there's just tremendous knowledge that's out there that everyone can access and learn these amazing things for free. And it'll save you a lot of money in the long run, in just avoiding mistakes that you might otherwise make.
Alan, you just developed your first product. Tell me a little bit about how your product line works, because I'm curious. It's not a drop shipping business, but you don't necessarily have products that are completely developed by you. Is that right?
Right.
So tell me, because you're kind of this hybrid model. Tell me how that hybrid model works.
Yeah, it's a weird space. So the products that I sell are largely manufactured in Asia, and they don't have any brand names on them. And so it's kind of like white labeling, I suppose. But they won't drop ship it, right? It's in Asia, and a lot of the products that come off the shelf over there, they have like crappy boxes and terrible manuals that are poorly translated. And so what I do is I find the people that are actually making these products, and then clean up the manual, clean up the box. We provide tech support, which is like a huge thing for our industry, because a lot of people, they don't know what product they need. So that's sales support. They don't know what product they need, and so we match them with the right thing, and then we do tech support so that they use the product correctly to accomplish whatever goal it is that they're trying to do. And so we order those items in bulk, bring them here, put them in our office, and then when people order them, we ship them out.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're creating value, right, where there was no value. And you create quite a bit of content too. I mean, you're an authority site, so to speak, for this spy niche.
A little bit. I could be doing significantly better. And that's something that I've been really struggling with over the last couple of years, because to be honest, I got really burnt out for like a 2, maybe even 3 year period where the business was just humming and I wasn't doing anything at all. And I could have been churning out really amazing content. I could have been updating the videos on my website, which are so outdated. And I just wasted a lot of time. And so I'm kind of paying for that now. So the last couple of months, we've brought on a writer with the help of another DCer, Jesse Hanley. He's been really, really helpful. We brought on another writer. We built a studio in our office, and we're filming all new videos, because we really do want to be that authority website. And we've kind of done an okay job. Like we do have good traffic that comes to our website, and starting to get like some name recognition, which is really weird because like nobody knows of like the spy industry, but like occasionally you hear people who have heard of Spy Guy. It's usually just because it's like a podcast or something I was on. But yeah, building up content, filming new videos, doing email marketing, which is something we hadn't done in a long time because I was scared to, because a lot of our customers get annoyed that we even send order confirmation emails because they're like spying on like their husband or wife, and we'll send them an email just with the order confirmation. And they're like, "Are you crazy? I share this email account with," and we're like, I mean, you could have just made a free Gmail account.
By the way, this is one of my favorite memes on the internet right now. Is second families. Like you see your significant other pacing around in the middle of the street during non-business hours on the telephone. Who do you think they're talking to? So spying has just gotten a lot easier. Hey, Alan, we have a question here in the comments for you. Alan, why do or don't you suggest an internship or an apprenticeship with current drop shippers? Maybe drop shippers don't rely on interns that much. You wrote something on Twitter, which I found to be interesting. Actually, yesterday, I think it was, which was basically when you first started your business, you're a business owner. You replied to a Craigslist ad.
Yeah, I have it here. I'm going to, by the power of technology, guys, not only do I read, but I don't know. Here it goes. Here's Alan's tweet. I haven't spoken about this a lot, but when I started Spy Guy after self-teaching AdWords, I needed more income. I found a guy on Craigslist about 30 minutes away who was looking for a PPC apprentice. I drive over 2 times a week to help run ads for brands like C's Candy and Simple Human.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that story.
What was the question? What am I answering?
Well, you.
So as far as like apprenticeships, I think they're amazing. I think the hard part is just finding somebody.
Oh, Alan's connection is breaking up just a little bit. It's a live show.
It's a live show.
What is going on up in Dallas?
I'm not sure. The good news is that we're at the beginning of his answer, so he can just start fresh.
All right. How's our comment section doing? Is the comment section still online?
It is.
Hey, Alan.
Oh, gosh.
No worries.
Sorry about that, guys. Looks like internet's a little spotty for some reason.
No worries.
Okay, so you were just at the beginning here. You said internships are great. What are your thoughts?
Are great.
What are your thoughts on that, Alan?
Internships, apprenticeships.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think they're fantastic. You just have to find somebody who is willing to take the time, to put you under their wing and share what they know. And so I had already been interested in Google AdWords and paid advertising. So this was back in 2014, I guess. And so I'd read several books already. I was running campaigns for my store, admittedly not spending a whole lot of money, maybe like $100 a day. And I was only getting like a couple $100 in sales. But because I had actually taken the effort to learn and was running some of my own campaigns and building out ads, I was able to go to somebody and say, hey, look, I've done this. I'd love to get to the next level. How can I help you? And learn from what you've already done. And so this guy, he lived out in Frisco, which is quite a bit of ways with all the traffic. And I would go over to his house, have breakfast and coffee, go up into his office, and then he would actually show me how to use spreadsheets to manage PPC campaigns, which was something I wasn't doing. I was just logging into the Google Ads editor and speed up all of the work that I had previously been doing. And I got to see the back end of these accounts that were spending, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars every month, and learn how he was managing those campaigns.
Now, Alan, if I can for just a second here, this sounds very weird to me. So I just need you to help me out with a few things.
Sure.
You went onto Craigslist, which that's a dark place sometimes. You found a guy, and then you started having breakfast with him at his house, and then you went upstairs and looked at
He was married. His wife made breakfast. His kid was there. He lived in a very nice house. He was well-to-do. He had just moved from California, so he was living in a shack in California, sold it, has a mansion in Frisco now with the same amount of money. And I would go over there, and believe it or not, that's how I found out about you guys, was because I was driving about an hour each way, and I was looking for podcasts to listen to. And I remembered I must have typed in Tim Ferriss or 4 Hour Workweek because I was just obsessed at the time, and you guys came up. And so I would wake up in the morning and I would listen to TMBA back and forth and go through the entire archive and everything.
Yeah.
And
well, check out, by the way, go to Google, type in Alan Walton TMBA if you want to. We had a full backstory of everything that led to Spy Guy. And one of the things I really like about this apprentice story is it mirrors my experience. I know, Alan, you're an infovore. You're reading a lot of books and all this kind of stuff, but you worked at a retail store that sold spy equipment, and now you have an apprentice in PPC. This is, hard-won knowledge through your day-to-day behaviors, sort of a point I was trying to impress at the top. And this idea, it worked in my career where I had this little petri dish of knowledge from trying to generate copy and online ad campaigns for our little business. And we didn't have a lot of sales. We didn't have a lot of, and so a lot of my theories and my practices would go unfalsified. Like I didn't know whether they were going to work or not because we didn't have enough budget. But I took the same strategies and applied them to a multi-million-dollar business for a very, very low fee as an apprentice. And all of a sudden, I got to play with OPM, other people's money, other people's platforms, and really got a sense for whether or not my knowledge was winning knowledge. And it sounds like you got the same opportunity, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there are plenty of those opportunities available. You're just going to have to find the right person, the right people to give you that kind of opportunity. And so you're going to have to do a little bit of legwork, but the people that are doing the legwork are the ones that are going to get those opportunities. Like they're just not going to drop in front of you. Like I remember when I was younger, like 10 years ago or so, I used to think, man, I'm a smart guy. How come nobody's like giving me a chance? I would love if somebody would just drop a project in my lap and I could figure everything out, like a brand new topic or something like that. And but it never happened. And then I realized it was because I was just hanging out like in my bedroom playing World of Warcraft all the time, and nobody even knew who I was, and I didn't have any skill sets. And so as long as you're just doing the basic, as long as you're trying to like gain skills, like a skill set that's actually useful in business, and you're showing that you have effort, people will give you a chance. I do it all the time. I get people who do outreach to me and ask if they can learn from some of the experiences that I've had, or show them how to do something. Or like a lot of people love asking for book recommendations, which kind of drives me nuts because nobody actually like reads them. So if somebody actually reads them and they come back to me and can prove that they read them, I'm like super excited because they actually like took some of that advice I gave and applied it.
Well, here's the thing, Alan, and this has been my experience with mentorships, and maybe this was your experience with the man that you met on Craigslist. Which is basically like people like to share information, then they like to see it work. They like to actually see people like you put it to work. I mean, that's one of the most satisfying and gratifying things that you can do. It's the rarest
thing in the world too, which is why it's so satisfying, is that nobody does this, Sabrina. No, I mean, unfortunately, the answer isn't simple. The answer isn't go buy this course, go read this specific book, and then implement it in your own petri dish. The answer is it's going to take you 5 years, and then even then you're going to have more stress. And this is a practice for a big period of your life and a group of people in a community you're going to be a part of. And it's messy, and so that, that's I think the tough part about giving advice in this situation is that it's not that simple. But the rarest thing in the world is taking the ideas that people put out there and proactively delivering value to people and not asking for much in return. I mean, that's how you earn your place at the table as a younger person with less experience.
Alan, we're going to wrap up the show here. We're going to do a little Q&A. There's so many things that I want to talk to you about. You just wrote in the DC, I spent $18K on Facebook ads, $30K on agency fees, and jeopardized my business. What a cliffhanger. Such a good...
and by the way, for those of you coming from Dynamite Jobs, it's not Washington, D.C. It's the Dynamite Circle.
Dynamite Circle.
So you wrote this post in there, Alan.
Yeah.
I'd love to have Alan to talk about that and Scout, which is the newest product that you developed, because I think this is where your type of business leads oftentimes, is to developing your new products, and that's been quite a roller coaster for you too. So I guess... how can I bargain with you to come back on the show and talk about those things?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I've been waiting for y'all to call me up for the last 2 years since I was last on. So.
Cool, Alan. Well, thank you so much for taking time out. And, yes, sir.
Real quick, if you give me 30 seconds, I have more than that. Off point for Sabrina. Serena, it's Sabrina, but let's just go with Serena because this can apply to like a lot of different people, right?
Okay.
Starting off with just one product. So like when I started my e-commerce business, we had like 100 different SKUs. A lot of drop shippers that are out there have thousands of SKUs, 100,000 SKUs. But if if you want to start an online business selling like a physical product, taking the time to figure out your brand and like make it attractive to other people, and then making a single product, I think is the way to go. And so a lot of people, they do that single product. They make their first product and they put it on Amazon and start out that way. Some people, they'll launch it like on Product Hunt or Kickstarter or something like that. I think coming out with a single product is a great way to go. And it doesn't have to be anything that's like a brand new, it's its own category or anything like that. If there's a product out there that's doing well and you look around and you're like, I could do something better than this. I could beat them on price, or I could beat them on style, or I could beat them on experience or something like that. I think that is the way to go, because coming out with like a ton of different products, it's really difficult. But if you could just have success with one product, then that gives you the ability to come out with more products later on. And boy, I hope I didn't disconnect.
You did not disconnect.
Okay, thanks.
Alan Walton, we appreciate you swinging by the Podshop. We hope to have you back very shortly. Stay safe and enjoy your quarantine.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
What a mensch.
A mensch. All right. So big ups to Alan Walton for coming by the show. Again, he's been on the TMBA podcast. One of super fantastic interview. I remember when we put the audio into the transcript and we had our production meeting. Producer Jane was like, man, this guy is no bullshit. He just calls it like it is. He shares honestly. Check him out on Twitter. He's a great follow. Okay, so
in that same vein, Patrick in the comments says his interview on the Tim Ferriss podcast introduced me to the DC, the Dynamite Circle.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Alan was on the Tim Ferriss show, and he talks about Spy Guy and a lot of his early experiences starting that business.
That's right. I forgot about that. That was a really cool moment listening to Alan shout out to the TMBA podcast. Sometimes tough to admit that you listen to the Tropical MBA in polite company,
And as you can see, we're just doubling down here with this new logo. Who's going to try and sue us over this palm tree? Nobody. Nobody.
All right, guys, we've done a bad job of comments. So what we're going to do now is we're going to scroll through, give a couple shout outs, and answer any questions you might have here today.
All right. Jim and Roman says, nice, 40 people watching this live stream. Let's get that up to 100. I hope so, too. Tell your friends. Tell your friends to come by.
Tell your friends about it.
Eat a sandwich in front of the TV. We won't tell anybody. Frank Jones says, there's some great groups for learning SEO. In my area, the Raleigh SEO Meetup has been publishing their meetups to YouTube for years. Now we all have time to... Now we can all watch that long-form content. That's interesting. I haven't heard too many good things about meetup.com in terms of like professional business organizations. So that's good to hear that Raleigh has a good scene for that.
My first professional organization in the entrepreneur space was from meetup.com.
Was it?
Yeah. I met like Kevin Kosakella, a DC member. We're actually working with Kevin on some stuff lately. He has a new service that's been amazing. And I met Kevin there like back in 2006, I think, meetup.com. It was like there was all these entrepreneurial meetups, and there was one that happened in the middle of the day. And so like less people with jobs showed up. And so it was more entrepreneurial rather than people seeking business ops. But there was a lot of real estate agents there.
That's a great barrier to entry, by the way. It's like put your meeting in a time when other people can't attend. So you get to see who shows up.
The first Dynamite Circle meetup in 2010 or 11 was on an island after a plane flight, a visa application, a ferry, risk your life, show up on Wednesday. It's like everybody there did not have a gainful employment.
A lot of love for apprenticeships in the comments. Jennifer says, so glad you guys are doing this. What a treat during my otherwise monotonous quarantine day.
Shout out.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this show. And we will be back tomorrow. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got some in the queue.
We should trail ahead. Want to put a little bow tie on this one, boss man. Just to organize thoughts for Serena, if you've hung around this long, I'm all about the information as well, but I think the under talked about thing is the practice. And you wrote a note that we deleted, but I'll bring it back. It's, you said, maybe 1 or 2% of people that buy these courses about how to do this stuff are ever going to do this stuff. And I think exactly that. You got to do this stuff. You got to walk the walk, and figuring out how to start walking is the punchline. And I think the answer to that is apprenticeships. A is for apprentice. That's the first step. It's to do exactly what Alan did, log on to Craigslist and go over to some older man's home and have breakfast with him. But in all seriousness, that is a magical, magical thing, which is this opportunity to sit at the table. We say work to learn, not to earn. Don't let a salary or your living expenses get in the way of this opportunity to learn what it feels like to be at the table, what it feels like to turn the knobs on a successful business.
Greg Berry says, we talking about practice? Yes, we are talking about practice.
We are talking about practice, Greg.
I can't
We're
remember
talking
what
about practice right now. Hey, I got to get off this live stream, everybody, because I have to go read. That's what I'm going to do today. I don't know what you guys are going to do.
Join us tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad live stream. Thank you so much.